Hello and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for Westworld Season 4, Episode 1, The Auguries. This video is a part of a series of videos where I will review episodes of Westworld each week. So I have to start with a spoiler warning for Westworld Season 4, Episode 1. If you have not seen up to this point, you will not want to watch this video. Otherwise, some things will be spoiled for you. So, this is the first time that I'm reviewing Westworld one episode at a time, weekly. Usually, I wait till the entire season is over and just make one video for it, which hardly anyone watches. But this year, I've decided to review every single episode, and that's mainly because I fucking loved Season 3. I thought Season 3 of Westworld was one of the best seasons of television ever made. I thought Season 1 of Westworld was one of the most overrated seasons of television ever made. And Season 2 was better than Season 1, but still didn't blow me away. Season 3 did blow me away. Now, I've talked about this a lot on my channel. Pretty much everyone disagreed. The vast majority opinion is Season 1 of Westworld is a masterpiece and it slowly went downhill, and Season 3 jumped the shark, which is an opinion that will always baffle me to my dying day. So I decided, because when I started watching Season 3, I wasn't aware of how much I would love it until it's ended. I didn't realize how much I love it till pretty much halfway through, so it was kind of too late for me to start reviewing it week by week. But at the end of Season 3, I'm like, well, I have to review this show week by week now, because now this is one of my favorite shows of all time. That being said, I don't know how I'm going to feel about Season 4. Season 4 is going to be really, really different from any of the previous seasons, including Season 3. So I don't know how it's going to go. I'm not going to like it as much as I liked Season 3. But I'm still going to review it week by week anyway. Now, here's the thing. When I was watching Season 3 of Westworld, and I did watch each episode as it aired, I just waited until the season was over until I did my review for it. And when I remember when I was watching the first couple episodes of Season 3, I remember thinking to myself, thank God I am not reviewing this episode week to week, because I am so confused. I wouldn't really know how to explain it or what's going on, so thank God I don't have to bother with that, and I can just watch and enjoy the episode like any normal person, not have to worry about coming on and recording a review to try to explain something I think I completely do not get. So, I'm remembering that now, because after watching the season premiere of Season 4, I'm like, oh yeah. Because I'm feeling the exact same way now. I'm like, oh shit. I already decided I'm going to review this show weekly, but I have no idea what's going on. Now, I watched some other videos to try to maybe get a little bit more, and it did help a bit, and it also helped to know that a lot of other people are confused and not really sure what's going on. And that is part of the charm of the Westworld, that it is kind of a mystery, and it keeps you guessing as to what is actually occurring. Now, this season seems to take place, someone said 8 years from the show. I gathered 7 years, but yeah, at least 7 or 8 years after the end of Season 3. And apparently there was a war, and it ended, and now, apparently, I guess the war lasted a year, and then we had 7 years since. So then Caleb, had a kid a year after the war ended, or after Season 3. So it's been 8 years. I guess that's how the math on that works. What war? Who was what? I'm a bit confused, and so I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't really like the fact that there's such a big time jump. I felt very lost if I recall, there wasn't as big of a time jump between seasons in the past. I think season 2 pretty much carried like right on after season 1, like immediately. Well, I mean, there was a different timelines each storyline was taking place, but some one of the timelines was like immediately after season 1. And then season 3, there was like a few months after, maybe a year, I'm not sure, but 8 years is kind of a huge way to jump, and I felt a little bit disconnected from the characters. But then again, it makes me wonder if we are going to go back and get some of the backstories. So we see Caleb. As I said, he's married, has a kid, and we see Maeve living alone in the woods, and she's dreaming or whatever of her previous life, and it's kind of implied that her reliving these memories is what causes the blackout. Now, here's the thing. So it showed all these memories that we've seen in previous seasons of Maeve, so it was clearly implying it was her remembering stuff. And then it showed her and Caleb like go into his warehouse and destroy this like Rehoboam type thing. I guess it wasn't the Rehoboam, maybe it was like a backup or something, I don't know. But and then Caleb got severely injured, and it looks like he was dying. And for a second, because this was before they showed Caleb, so for a second there, I thought they were going to kill Caleb off in between seasons. And I guess, maybe he was in the trailer for season 4, but I didn't see it, so I don't know. So I thought they were going to kill Caleb off in between seasons, and he just wouldn't be in the show anymore. And I'm like, oh my god, this show will suck if they did that. Like, I was ready to be super upset, but thankfully they didn't do that. However, maybe he did die and this isn't really Caleb, or maybe that is a vision of the future, not a memory of the past. So yeah, you never know with Westworld. Anyway, so these hosts who sent by William try to kill Maeve, but she gets the better of them, and one of them also go to Caleb to try to kill him, but Maeve shows up and like puts a sword through the guy, and then they have to go on a quest to find William. Now this William, of course, must be the host William, who was created by Auguries, who is like set up as the big evil bad guy at the end of season 3, who took over Delos. And so yeah, we'll find out more what was going on about that. Now, let's get into Christina's storyline. Now, at the end of season 3, everyone was saying, well, Dolores is dead. She's dead. She's never coming back. And Evan Rachel Wood is not going to be in the show anymore, and I think the actress was even like saying her goodbyes. Oh, it was a great run. And I'm like, bullshit. The show is not going to get rid of this character. Like Dolores, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter if this character's dead, alive, different version. They are not getting rid of this actress, and I was right. Now, who Christina is she Dolores, or is she, I mean, she has to be related to her somehow. I mean, if it's just a coincidence that she looks exactly like Dolores, that would be fucking stupid. So somehow this Christina person is related to Dolores. So yes, it's a way to keep this actress in the show. So her whole storyline was the main storyline that I was like, huh? Like, what in the hell is happening here? But of course, I have a feeling like with Westworld that this will become clear in future episodes. So I'll probably be able to. This is probably good setup, I guess. It's hard to tell at this stage, and I'll probably, once it all comes together, I'll be like, oh god, yeah, that makes so much sense. But right now, I'm just like, what the hell? She has, there's a lot of, some videos pointing out, like, symmetry, like they're using imagery, the same kind of imagery that they used in season 1 to evoke that kind of image, and some suggest that, theorize that perhaps this is signifying that that she's on a loop, and this is a host, and there's this, weird guy that keeps calling her, and he shows up and tries to, threatens her, and he's like, you have to change it, and we see her at her work that she's like writing these stories, and her boss says that her stories are boring, and she needs to write about violence and shit, or she's gonna get fired, and the dude shit keeps showing up as like, you did this to me, you're controlling my life, and of course I'm just like, what in the fuck is going on? Now, I have a theory, and to be fair, I only watched like 1 or 2 videos, so I don't know if anyone's come up with this theory, or most people are probably going to tell me that this theory is stupid and completely wrong, and I missed a big clue in the show that tells me that this theory can possibly be true. But I'm going to say it anyway. And again, it is probably totally, completely, and utterly wrong. But as I was watching this episode, I was thinking, maybe, what if this is the Sublime? What if Dolores is in the Sublime? What if she had uploaded different, how she had all these different balls and there was different versions of Dolores? Now, we do know there was still one who was still out there at the end of season 3. One version, so this could be it, or this could be completely unrelated to that, but I think, my theory is that this is the Sublime. In fact, at the very end, when they were zooming down to this mysterious figure standing outside her window, I was like, I bet this is Teddy, because then I would go along with my theory that they're in the Sublime, because Teddy was in the Sublime, and sure enough, it's Teddy. So that made me think, they're definitely in the Sublime. But then I watched like other videos saying that this is New York City is like a park, kind of like Westworld was a park, and that most of the people there are actually hosts, and guests go there to enjoy, because as Christina was walking in the city, there was like these teenagers walking by. Oh, have you been here before? Oh, this is so amazing. It's a lot of fun. And if it wasn't for that one line, I would have no idea that was a park, but apparently some images from the trailers also indicate that this whole thing is a park, which would not go along with my theory that it's the Sublime. But maybe in this fictional universe within the Sublime, they created a park. I don't know. I don't know, and maybe because we know how Westworld loves to fuck with different time frames, maybe this, because the story had been, so far in this episode anyway, was completely unrelated to Caleb and Maeve's story, so perhaps this is taking place in a far-flung future, and is different from the Caleb thing. But I think it's the Sublime, because at the end of season 3, I just remembered there was a post-credit or something scene where Bernard was like, he went to the Sublime at the end of season 3, but then it was a post-credit scene where he had like dust all over him, and he got back from it, so it was implying he was there for like 100 years or something. So maybe that's because if Bernard does pop up in this Christina storyline, then again that would go along with my theory. Like as soon as I saw, and if I see any more characters who went to the Sublime. But then there's this thing, I didn't even fucking notice it until I watched another video that pointed out that at the opening scene where William went to the Hoover Dam to confront the cartel and buy that thing from them, apparently there was a shot of like this rip that was right over the Hoover Dam that looked just like the rip that the host used to go into the Sublime. Maybe he's imagining this, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he was imagining this because when he said that he wanted these servers, these massive servers that the cartel had, and he wanted it because he wanted to get a hold of something that was stolen from them. I think, and this is what I thought when I first watched the episode, when I was watching this scene, I was like, he's talking about the Sublime. That because he said the person who stole this from them is now dead. And Dolores, like, kind of stole the Sublime and keyed it so they couldn't access it. And he even says, like, we can't access it, but we don't want anyone else to either. So maybe the Sublime is being held on this server, and that's why what they want to acquire it. And so when they had that ripple, whatever, over the dam, that was his imagining because he knew that the Sublime was at this place. And so William in real life is trying to and has, of course, because they use that bullshit with the flies to take over that guy and get him to kill everyone in the cartel. So William now has control of it. So they now have control over the Sublime, and I think that this Christina is within. So I think, and I felt like because they were kind of hinting at the end of season 3 that we had to go into the Sublime because they had Bernard was going to go into it, and so I felt like this season they had to return to the Sublime, and so that's what I think this is. It must be because the whole Christina storyline would make sense that way, but apparently no one else thinks that. So I don't know. I could be completely full of shit here and totally wrong. That's what I was thinking. I don't really know what's going on. Anyway, it's hard to give a rating for this episode because it's so dependent on what comes after this, or whether or not this is going to be good setup or bad setup. And I think I felt the same way about the first episode of season 3, which in retrospect was an amazing episode because it ended up being great setup. So let's give this episode an 8, I guess. It could drop or rise depending on what comes after this, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I guess I didn't like the fact that they skipped ahead 8 years, but I guess it adds to the mystery. And there's always great visuals and great storytelling and great acting in this show, and this could be amazing setup, hopefully. Let's fingers crossed. It's hard to say at this state, but I'm intrigued. I will say that I'm very intrigued, and we can't wait to see where they take it. And that's part of the thrill of Westworld, is that it does always not fully explain what the hell is going on, and you gotta keep watching, and it gets more interesting. So that's it for my review of the season premiere of Westworld. I will be back next week and every week hence thereafter to cover the show, so please follow me along with that. And I also cover many other shows on my channel, such as Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and in fact all things Star Trek, and other shows like The Expanse and Star Wars Rebels. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.